Today I'm with a 2016 Ford Transit Connect. Now I'm going to teach you how to get the battery out, how to replace it, and also install the tracker. And for this task you're going to need a small flat blade screwdriver, a 1/4 inch ratchet, a 7mm socket and a 10mm socket. So let's get into it. So I'm going to show you how to replace this battery. Now a lot of people think that you remove this scuttle panel on these Transit Connects to get this out. That's not the case. It's a case of removing this air box, which is a very simple task. What we're going to need is an 8mm, which is going to get this Jubilee clip off here. So we're just going to loosen that up, enough for us to get it off. Then we're going to want a screwdriver with a just a flat end on it. That's going to lift up this tab here for the electrical connector, and what we're going to do is just push that in, and that's going to pop off. Now that's got another clip just there, and we want to get that out the way to the back. Now unfortunately the last mechanic who did this battery replacement, because it's had a few, has stolen the bar which actually holds this battery in. So it should have that, and that should be checked on an MOT, to be honest, to make sure that battery is secure, because technically it isn't. It needs two 10mm nuts on there and a bar. So if you're doing this on your Transit Connect, it will be slightly different, because you should have to remove a 10mm nut there, 10mm nut there, and then remove that bar. But other than that, the process is exactly the same. So just down here we've got the air intake going to the front. There's a little loop at the bottom there. You literally pull that up and just sit that here underneath the scuttle panel for the front, and that just lifts straight out the top, as you can see there. So now we've undone that Jubilee clip for the air intake. Just there you go, that's pulled off. Now this can literally, it's just sat in there with some feet. The airbox can come out. There's a vacuum pipe just here, so we're going to pull that off, and then that can sit on the floor. And then what we have here is should be some 10mm connectors, but first we need to get this panel off. Now you will notice there's some connections here. We don't need to touch those. What we need to do is lift this up slightly, and then if we shuffle it around a little bit, pull the side out, what will happen is that panel we should be able to get off. Now we need to release this, so it's one 10mm on the top. Undo that, that comes off, and then what happens is this moves down towards the front, which exposes the front of the battery. Now the earth lead, don't worry about getting out in situ, because what it does is it trails all the way along there and comes to the side, so that'll give us some slack. So what we want to do is move that up and forwards like so, and then that comes out. So what I would do here, if I was going to remove this battery, is literally just take this 10mm here, and then that whole terminal come off. But what I'm actually going to do today is install a tracker on top of this battery. So just want some slack on the nut there. Here's the little tracker, and what I need, literally just to pop that below this nut there, and just to tighten that back up again. Right, so we've now got a negative connection on that. Battery terminal's tight, so what I'm going to do is pop that back in place. You might need to lift it up a little bit. Move that out of the way. Just wriggle it back. Should just wriggle it back. There you go. And then what we need to do is bring this front up. Again, so that slots down there into this groove here, and then coming over to the right side, we want to pull that wall back a bit. We can get that in, and then it's that lug that needs to go over the top. Then if we get this back on, we'll have a little crackle, as there's a load now on it, and we're going to take this, we'll do exactly the same at the front, I'm gonna get that underneath there, so I need to loosen it off a bit more. Pop that underneath, and as you can see, our tracker's actually lit up there, so we know that's on. Now ordinarily, I've got another toolkit. I wouldn't be using a fully metal ratchet doing this job. What I'd usually like to use is a little ratchet with a rubber handle, and that way, if when I'm doing the positive terminal up here, it touches anything, any bodywork, I know it's not going to short circuit the battery. Right, so we've got that. These have a sticky pad on them actually. Peel that off and stick that to the top of the battery there, and then just pop these wires out of the way down the side so they can't get in the way of anything. And then we've got the tracker there on top of the battery. Now it's just the reverse process. So what we want to do, grab the airbox again. Again, quite simple. We've got feet on the bottom, and this is actually going to need an airbox because, as you can see, somebody has cracked it. This is why I don't trust garages. Someone's cracked that. That's really bad actually, because I'm going to need to get this replaced, because this is supposed to be a sealed unit to stop air getting sucked in there, which could end up one, damaging the airflow sensor, the mass airflow sensor, and it's also letting potentially dirty air back into the engine, so that isn't good. But for the purpose of this video now, he's obviously going to need to get a new one of those. What you should have on the bottom of the airbox is 3 feet, so you've got one at the back here, one at the side and one at the front. Going to put it back in the same way it came out, not forgetting to pop that vacuum pipe back onto the air intake. Going to lower that down into the 3 feet. You can see here the front of the air intake pipe's back on, and you just take that rubber belt and stick it back over, click it back into place. And then we take our sensor, pop it back down, and then to finalise that, you want to push that red tab down inside. That will stop it slipping off. And then we want to pop that location screw back in there. Then we need to get the air intake Okay, don't over tighten these, because usually what happens with Jubilee clips is you go too tight and it just rounds out and you'll need a new clip on there, so that's fine. And that's it. So that is a Ford Transit Connect battery install done.